I am in the middle of studying. Please repeat. Are you in the middle of watching TV? I'm in the middle of watching TV. Weren't they in the middle of arguing? They weren't in the middle of arguing. Was she in the middle of getting dressed? She was in the middle of getting dressed. Isn't he in the middle of taking a nap? He isn't in the middle of taking a nap. Aren't they in the middle of getting out of bed? They aren't in the middle of getting out of bed. Is she in the middle of moving the table? She's in the middle of moving the table. Aren't you in the middle of building it? I'm not in the middle of building it. Is she in the middle of talking to her friends? She's in the middle of talking to her friends. Are you in the middle of learning Chinese? I'm in the middle of learning Chinese. Weren't they in the middle of sleeping? They weren't in the middle of sleeping. What was she in the middle of trying to do? She was in the middle of trying to find her money. Who will be in the middle of playing baseball? He will be in the middle of playing baseball. Where are they in the middle of driving to? They're in the middle of driving to Seattle. Who are they in the middle of having lunch with? They're in the middle of having lunch with their friends. What was he in the middle of solving? He was in the middle of solving the problem. What are you in the middle of making? I'm in the middle of making cookies. Where was she in the middle of putting on makeup? She was in the middle of putting on makeup in her room. When were they in the middle of cleaning up? They were in the middle of cleaning up at 4. Who is in the middle of trying it? They are in the middle of trying it. What was she in the middle of talking about? She was in the middle of talking about Mexico. Weren't they in the middle of fixing it? They weren't in the middle of fixing it. Who is in the middle of watching the news? My wife is in the middle of watching the news. What are they in the middle of arguing about? They're in the middle of arguing about their teacher. Isn't she in the middle of dyeing her hair? She isn't in the middle of dyeing her hair. What were you in the middle of listening to? I was in the middle of listening to a podcast. Who are they in the middle of showing it to? They're in the middle of showing it to their parents. What are you in the middle of eating? I'm in the middle of eating cereal. Who was in the middle of putting it together? She was in the middle of putting it together. When will they be in the middle of taking the test? They'll be in the middle of taking the test at 12. What were you in the middle of planting? I was in the middle of planting roses.